Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant podcast. I am Lord Grantham, joined as always by my good friends and partners in radio, Tom Branson and Mrs. Patmore. Boys, we have much Downton Abbey to discuss. Again, as we lean hard into Downton Abbey, the movie Downton Abbey, the series, part 2. And I don't know about you boys, but I know the audience that I talked to was super stoked about it. They were just so glad, Ronald, that we leaned into that. I think we owe it a few more episodes.
I think we owe it. I think we owe our lives to it.
Actually,
in the same way Lord Grantham says, "I owe my life to Downton." I think we owe our lives to more Downton podcasts.
Actually.
Well, I'm really glad to be invited in this time because I missed the first opportunity to gush and swoon and otherwise dig into this artistic masterpiece.
We felt like we were missing a limb.
Ronald, we've done a horrible thing. And do you know what the horrible thing was?
What did we do?
Discussing a movie and a show that we like on our show. And do you know how I know it's horrible? I had people reaching out to me going, you know what? I just want to let you know I saw the episode and I deleted it. And I'm like, well, there you go.
They deleted the free episode that they
deleted the free entertainment that literally came to them.
That they're under no obligation
through no effort of their own.
There's a silver lining to this dark cloud, and that is, in order to delete it, they had to download it. So that still works in our favor. As long as they download it, I don't care if they listen every time, but just download it.
I'm just interested in the pathology that causes a person to go, hey, just to let you know, okay, just to clear the air, I deleted your episode this week, and the response on our thanks so much, man. I'm so glad I know now. Thank you. That's huge.
Should I tell you guys about all the books of yours that I haven't read and vice versa?
Hey, just to let you know.
Would you like to know the things that I didn't engage in?
I've only read a third of your books. Sure.
I think it's a good opportunity to sort of to tell everybody that this is a podcast that we get to rant about whatever we want. We don't have special guests on. So Downton fully fits in with exactly what we do every week. It was just a little more focused.
Well, baby, not according to a third of our listeners. And I'll have you know, people, that we're going to get back to some really serious, hard-hitting stuff this week. So lest anybody think we're going to kind of major in frivolity, we're back to the hard-hitting content that they know.
Because the stuff we're going to talk about today is it's not frivolous at all.
No, baby, it's really meaningful, actually. I don't know if you've looked at the show notes, but I have. And
of course I have not looked at the show notes. That would be against everything I'm for.
Exactly.
Good. I'm so glad you're being consistent in your participation and your dedication, Ron. If you had started looking at show notes, I'd be very uncomfortable.
I know. We probably have to have a talk about my continuing with this program. I get that.
I do have a question about the Downton Abbey thing.
Oh, no. People are going to hate this. Don't ask it.
It's okay, because this is listener participation. Right. So, dedicated listener Jared Rossiter posted on our Facebook page.
At Jared C. Rossiter.
Different, at Jared C. Rossiter. He posted a picture of cranky old lady from Downton Abbey, whose name I don't know, and said, Pipes may hate it, but he's the Dowager Countess of the Happy Rant.
Wow.
To which you guys
it's a massive
said...
compliment.
It's a huge compliment.
Yeah, Ted said ultimate compliment, and Ron said that about sums it up. I don't know what this means.
Okay, so...
Can you explain this to me in Luddite layman's terms?
We're comparing you with Maggie Smith, who is the actress that plays the Dowager Countess, who's basically like the grandmother of Downton Abbey, and she's kind of the slightly agitated, angry, character in the show that has all of the killer and cutting one-liners all the way through it.
Oh, yeah, she's a hot take machine, man. Every line of dialogue is a heater for.
She's like 1920s flapper hot takes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And is she the same actress who played Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potter movies?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I feel profoundly complimented at Jared C. Rossiter. You are wonderful. I don't hate it at all.
I know.
I don't even hate Downton Abbey. I'm just completely ignorant of it.
You should probably, that should spur you on to watch it now, Pipe. Knowing that you're like the Dowager Countess.
Boys, can we stop talking about Downton Abbey? I'm getting really bored.
We're gonna
I might delete my own podcast. I'm going to delete this file.
That's right. Can I delete this while we're recording?
And then I'm going to have you guys let the world know that I deleted it, just so they know.
Baby, when are we going to do another Downton episode after Pipe has to miss 1 week? Because that's going to happen.
Baby, never,
let's
because the people have spoken and we've done an awful thing in their minds. So I don't know.
That's okay. I don't care what the people have spoken.
Here's my proposal.
There you go.
Yeah, here's my proposal. Ted and I occasionally do sports episodes, and we have, has its own logo. We label it as sports. Like it's sort of a trigger warning for all of the arty folks. Yeah, so it's and then an invitation for those who are into such things. We could easily do that with you guys and Downton Abbey, or do like a mini series.
No, we'll call it the Happy Abbey. How about that, boys?
Baby, what would our Downton logo look like? Would it be like just a silhouette of like Mr. Carson's profile, or
100%?
It's got to be like you and an ascot, Ted, or both of you in ascots, but in silhouette kind of thing, like an old engraving kind of thing,
I'm
not
so
a
hyped for
photograph.
Happy Abbey now. I mean, I'm literally that's all I.
Baby, I'm hyped for
We're
that
still
too.
talking. We're still talking about this by ourselves.
We got to get artwork made for that. Maybe Megan
We
Tennant,
do.
our resident artist on the program, can get some artwork going for that. Because
The Happy Abbey. That is.
I do
big.
believe she was one of the listeners who did appreciate the last episode. So she fell in the demographic that you guys connected with very well.
Baby, listen though. I want you to know some
some
guys are going to not listen. They're probably going to delete it. And they may click over to the 9 Marks podcast where they get some really solid Bible teaching about the church.
Well, by some guys, you mean most guys, because we're one of only 2 guys that are actually invested in Downton Abbey. So that's the reality of what we're talking about. But I think Happy Abs can move us way beyond our general listenership. I think it can be potentially big.
Baby, I'm in. You don't have to convince me. But
I don't have to convince
here's
you.
another reality that I'm dealing with, that I'm happy to deal with.
Your 17th podcast?
And that is the reality that I'm sitting here in my studio, my home studio, looking at a $700 shoulder bag and just loving it, and just kind of continuing to wrap my mind around the fact that this bag is mine. It will always be. And kind of dealing with the fact that I have to fight the temptation to ask people to smell my bag, which sounds weird. But that's just my reality. That's the life I'm living right now. So Piper, why don't you tell us about Saddleback Leather and all the fabulous products that they have to offer?
Yeah, so this is probably the fanciest sponsor we've ever had. We discovered that a previous sponsor who we thought was fancy was actually a bunch of crooks. The Noah event venue, or Noah's, or whatever it was. We found out that was some sort of a Ponzi scheme.
It makes me feel better for butchering their
listeners.
names each and every episode.
Yeah, I no longer care that I could never get the URL right for them. However, saddlebackleather.com is the real URL to a real company who does real nice products. So it's all high-end, what they call over-engineered leather goods. So they have everything from like steamer trunks to wallets. So the kind of like super small kinds of things, pen cases, wallets, toiletries bags, to the kind of thing that you could throw on the Hogwarts Express and send off to, send your 11-year-old off to school with. And so they do corporate gifts. So if you are a church who's looking to give high-end gifts to speakers or something like that, you'd have to be kind of the mega church with a big budget for that. That's a good way to use tithes. Bags, briefcases, portfolios, wallets, belts, all the stuff. They also have canvas bags, which tend to be on the slightly more affordable side, but also really nicely crafted, engineered. All of that is available there. So if you go to saddlebackleather.com, you can check those out. It is gift-giving season coming up for the holidays, so think of these things. But the offer that they have for listeners is they are giving away 5 different products. So one of 5 different products, ranging from toiletries bags, wallets, and then 2 or 3 different bags throughout all of October. So you can enter through the end of October. If you go to saddlebackleather.com/happyrant, you can enter to win there, or you can go to our show notes on the blog post. The blog post, or you can go to happyrantpodcast.com. We have entry forms in all those places. So if at any point you forget where to enter, just find our podcast online. There's a link there. You can enter through the end of October, and you will be entered to win one of these 5 really nice products. I was actually carrying my bag last night as I was leaving church after a men's thing, and had 2 different guys stop me and go, "Whoa. That is a beautiful bag," which is not. I don't usually get complimented for anything that I'm carrying or wearing. Unlike Ron.
Yeah, no, I know. It's happening right now to me, actually. What bag did you get again, Pipe?
I forget the exact name of it. It had a name that made me feel almost guilty because it was so like professional and luxurious sounding. But it is sort of a dark burgundy red colored like messenger bag kind of thing. So like a fold over buckle flap on it. Beautiful. It is. Yeah, as soon as I got it, I was like, oh, I'm never buying another one of these again. A, because I won't need to, because there's a lifetime warranty on these things. And B, because I will never find another bag that is nicer than this one.
Correct.
And so far, so good.
Correct, yes.
Well, boys, there you have it. It's a lavish and decadent lifestyle that we lead. Now that we've partnered with Saddleback Leather, and I truly feel like it's leveled us up as a podcast. It's a
Can I ask you guys a quick question? Do you feel any of that event? Like, do you feel like you need to make an excuse when you wear these bags in public or carry them because they're so nice? They have to, like we talked about when I got a new car. It's like, well, I got a great deal on it. It's sort of the evangelical money guilt of this is a nice thing, and so I have to make excuses.
I never
for
do,
it.
Pipe. I literally never do. I mean, it'd be one thing if I was buying one a month. The fact that you buy one for a lifetime, it's actually the cheapest bag you can possibly own.
Baby, that is ridiculous.
Wait, it's one for a lifetime,
logic.
But you own half a dozen.
Exactly.
No, I only own two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Piper,
Easy
I feel
boys.
the opposite. I feel guilt all the time, and
I'm not a guilt-driven guy, though, Pipe. That's why I don't do guilt.
See, I am. Baby, you're an Enneagram 4. You should be driven by shame, like I am.
I'm driven by shame, but not guilt.
My whole life is shame and guilt. But yeah, Pipe,
Things.
nearly every person I encounter, I feel like I have to go into this dissertation about how I would never spend this much money in real life on a bag, but it kind of came.
I mean, it's like, okay, you can
via the
spend
podcast.
$600 on this bag for a lifetime, or you can spend $6,000 on the next 20 bags over your lifetime. So it really is.
Yeah, I don't think the math works there, baby, but it's fine. This isn't a math podcast. We're gonna have people clicking away because of that too.
I think it works. Maybe it works.
Maybe it works.
Maybe it works. Do the math. But no, before you go on, break out your calculator. Do the math.
I'm not doing the math. But you know what I am doing the math on? And this is easy math. Because someone in the blogosphere, this website is churchleaders.com. I've never visited churchleaders.com before. I don't know if you guys have.
Always an exciting website.
Yeah, maybe it is an exciting website. But churchleaders.com did a super helpful thing. And it's a ranking in which they ranked the top 100 Christian leaders to follow on Twitter. Pipe sent us this list, and it's fascinating in that I think you have to get down to number 9 to find an actual Christian on the list, and it's John Piper, Pipe's dad.
I mean, six and seven.
Yeah,
is
6
solid.
and 7. Number 7, I didn't know he was still alive, because that just seems like a guy from the 80s, and I feel like he was old then. But you know what? I'm going to click on his Twitter and see what he's getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his 70s. So 6 is Rick Warren and 7 is Max Lucado. By Reformed standards, they're not Christian, but by like Jesus' standards, I think they are. So,
dude, Piper,
easy.
I think they're safely
is
Christian.
number 8 Sean King, the quarterback who used to play for Tampa? Is he now a Christian leader?
No, this is like Sean King, the activist. I think. Let me see.
Yeah, there's a Colin Kaepernick picture on there.
If it was,
so yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
if it was the backup quarterback from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that would be quite the career shift. Yeah, this is not the same.
Dude, so this
guy.
Sean King, this is a super humble description by him of himself. He describes himself as, quote, the voice of social justice. So there you go. Just that small thing.
He's the voice of social justice at the Tom Joyner show.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's a qualifier
There's some
there.
nuance there. Got it.
I do have a question about him because he lists himself as a husband, but he doesn't say how many people he's the husband of, which tells me that maybe he's not a real Christian because real Christians say like husband of one.
Yeah.
And so is it possible that's like, is that a red flag on him?
Dude, why do real Christians say husband of one? That's interesting. As though like polygamy is a thing that we're all kind of.
It's a sweet.
Yeah, we're just sifting through that issue, that delicate issue.
It's the whole like elder qualifications, husband of one.
Oh, got it.
Which
they're being all literal.
It must be that
because
got it.
Because you almost never see like wife to one. Like when women say that they're married in their social media profiles, they'll be like wife to, and and then the name of their husband. Whereas men are like husband of one because the number is more important than the individual.
Well, I don't think it says in the Bible that wives need to only have one husband. I think that's probably why. So
that's true. It's
wives can be polygamous.
There's no direct
okay,
statement.
Is what we're trying to say.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
I mean, the hermeneutic checks out. I think that's solid.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying, if we're going to be literal interpretation here, if we're going to do that whole thing,
baby, you're going to get actually to high heaven this week. Enjoy that.
Am I?
Yeah, block off a few days for.
No. Well, that's true. By the time this releases, people will be done arguing about the David and Bathsheba story and be ready to jump on Ron for his polygamy.
Is that
tapes.
David and Bathsheba thing? Is that current? That's a current thing that's happening.
It's fairly current. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, as we're recording, there's a tweet storm being raised against conservative leaders about such things that we don't need to get into because we don't want to get in trouble or get fired or, get
we
well
can't get
acted.
fired if Thorny did a special doctrine in Devo, dropped at midnight special ep on it. I mean, how can we get fired?
Dude, Thorny.
Well,
he's more Baptist than any of us will ever be. He's all 1689.
That's true.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. He's got it tatted on his forehead or his five head.
Thorny can't get fired. Nobody can get fired.
That's true.
He's his own boss, though, that's priesthood of all believers and papacy of the pastorate and whatnot. So, all right, back to the list. Enough about polygamy.
Okay, so after I'm glad we got the Sean King thing worked out too, because I was excited to potentially see a quarterback on there. So at number 9 we've got John Piper, Pipe's dad. Number 11, friend of the program, Dave Ramsey, Daver. Our favorite rich Christian.
Featured friend.
Almost a million followers. Wow, that's impressive.
Dave's done well.
I would like to tell Dave, however, that if he was truly doing rich people things, he would be in the top 10.
Yeah, that's got to really bum him out to not make the top 10.
11 is that's just behind Sean King, behind Beth Moore. Yeah. Granted, she probably is more influential than he is. But behind John Maxwell, talk about a guy who had influence 20 years ago. Yeah. Man,
dude, Beth Moore,
that must be a blow to Ramsey's ego and maybe his bank account.
This must kind of be the money quadrant because we've got Steve Furtick next at number 12, and then Andy Stanley.
I'm shocked, Furtick.
Andy Stanley, Mr. money and leadership Christianity guy. So,
but I feel like it's shocking those two only have the amount of followers they have. I would have never guessed that Stanley would have been that down the list.
Maybe you feel like it's a low number for Andy.
Well, I mean, kinda. I mean, when you look, I don't know. Max Lucado has more. I don't know.
It's strange, man. It is kind of strange. How deep do you guys have to go on the list to get to somebody you've never heard of? Because I'm there basically.
All right, let me see. Dun, dun, dun.
I didn't even know Michael Hyatt was a church leader, man. I thought he just made these little what do you call it?
Dude, Mike Hyatt's on there? Oh, 27. Yeah, that guy's hilarious.
I thought he made these real techie scheduling books or whatever. You know what I mean? The little what
he's kind of done it all, Pipe. He's dabbled in publishing. He's done the whole deal.
When he was he was the CEO or whatever of Thomas Nelson Publishing before they got, or maybe during the purchase of them by whatever New York house bought him. I can't remember. But yeah, so he was at high up in Christian publishing and used to co-own a publishing company that was Christian. So he's been on the Christian side of the industry and has now moved much more into the sort of purposeful execution, planning, efficiencies.
Well, kind of a mini Dave Ramsey minus a non-money version of Ramsey, right?
Can you do me a favor? Just a little radio experiment. Can you click on Michael Hyatt's Twitter and look at his picture and just say the first couple things that come to mind?
I will filter them. Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Okay, mine is cocaine. What's yours, Ron? First word that comes, a little word association.
I mean, yeah, that's the first word that came.
That's a lot of filters, Ron.
Yeah, there's a lot. I got a lot of filtering going on right now.
All right, boys, I got to ask you some questions because I don't know who some of these people are. Who's Darlene Zesh?
Darlene Check, I think is her. She wrote the first big hit for Hillsong music back in the late 90s. Nice. So she was the one who sort of launched Hillsong into the worship behemoth that they are in terms of the music industry.
No kidding.
Can I just ask too that man, I'm so surprised that Greg Laurie, Ann Voskamp, and Jen Hatmaker are as low on the list as they are.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? I would think Greg Laurie would be way higher. At Voskamp and Hatmaker, I feel dude, they've just been slacking on social media. I mean, look at those numbers.
Who's Voskamp? What did she do?
She wrote, what was her first big book? Was it Thousand Gifts?
Yeah, she's kind of the real artsy, poetic, kind of ethereal, flowery.
Yeah, very, very sort of reflective. But unlike some of the other people whose names we've thrown out, she falls firmly in real solid Jesus love.
She's orthodox.
Helps people as disciples, Christians.
Nice.
So to answer your earlier question, it's number 35 before I get to somebody who I have no idea who they are. Like, I know out of the top 50, there's only 2 that I don't. I don't know who Bobby Houston is, and I don't know who Justin Welby is. Oh, Devon Franklin. Okay, so 3 out of the top 50, I don't know who they are.
Interesting.
So, yeah, 35 was the first one. Who is Bobby Houston? Let's see. Somebody out there's yelling an answer at me. But, Bobby's a woman. Okay, sorry, Bobby.
How dare you, Pipe?
She is the co-global senior pastor of Hillsong, married to Brian Houston.
Okay.
So, gotcha. That makes
sense. Dude, I didn't know who Nick
Vujicic
is. Do we know who that is?
Oh, he's the
Ted, everybody
inspirational Christian speaker, the guy who was born with no arms and no legs.
Oh, okay.
And he's written a lot of books about overcoming that and then living a limitless life and those kinds of things. I've interviewed him before. He's a really high energy, engaging person, but it's very much a God will get you through your challenges. If I can do this, you can do this type of thing. He's a really nice person.
Dude, look at my man KDY there, weighing in at number 45. Man. I feel like that's a good performance for him.
That is, but what about Johnny Mac at 48? It's like, how is that even possible?
Does he even go on Twitter? I mean, come on, Johnny Mac. You got to spend more time on social media.
I mean, the guy that does his Twitter for him, really, really needs to get on the stick.
Okay, here's the thing. That's cheating. That's not even his personal account. That's the ministry account. So it's like the radio account and stuff like that. It's the @GraceTU. It doesn't even use his picture on there. So no, John, that's cheating. You don't get to use a brand as your personal. Who's Robert Morris? I thought he made cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
Isn't Robert Morris a tobacco
Isn't there a college
company?
called Robert Morris too? Up in Chicago.
Oh boy, he's a
dude. Who is he?
Maybe we should do.
Who's Bob Morris?
Just click on the link and all right. You need to click that handle and give first impressions of this
Let's
photo.
Do it. What number is Bobby? 47.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
Interesting. I want to. So the first thing that comes to mind is just charismatic.
I just think football sports announcer. That's
football sports guy?
Yeah.
He does.
He looks like commentator. I don't know.
He looks like John Madden's son.
He looks like he'd be doing the 11 a.m. game on ESPN4 with with some guy who played at Central Michigan.
Like ex-linebacker dude, right? I mean,
being John Madden's son got him into the game, but not his lack of ability didn't get him on the prime time.
Yeah, he's doing like ESPN 12 o'clock games.
That was a great association, Ron. That's totally true. I was just sitting there going, he reminds me of something, but I couldn't figure out what. And then you said football announcer, and it
I know football announcer is usually my first grab, but I'm also realizing as we're talking about this, nobody's going to know what we're talking about.
Boys, I'm super bummed about something. And it concerns number 51, Shane Claiborne. Used to be my go-to white guy with dreads. So anytime I wanted to make a white guy with dreads joke, I would invoke the name of Shane Claiborne. But then I clicked on his handle, and he cut the dreads off. He just looks like the guys in Pearl Jam looked when they all cut their hair in like the early 2000s. He's not useful
to you anymore.
He's not useful to me. I have no more Shane Claiborne stuff to say.
Yeah, he looks like a band member of Third Day in 2001.
He does, yeah. He's 2001 Third Day guy.
That's one of the saddest things I've ever heard anyone say.
Oh, I love it.
It would have been sad in 2001 as well. Don't get me started.
Boys, you know what? I'm glad we're back to doing like really meaningful content on this program after last week.
Y'all, check out number 62.
At Jared C. Look at our boy.
At Jared C. made the list.
Oh, that's solid. He's got to be stoked.
Has Jared C. even posted this list yet? Because I haven't noticed.
He's got to be super pumped about this, man.
I mean, does Jared C. have like a jersey that says 62 on the back of it yet?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You know what he was waiting for? He was waiting for us to talk about it because it would be egotistical for him to post it.
I know.
However, if we discover him on it, then
Dude, that's why he was bummed
You know,
about the Downton Abbey.
he wins.
Jared C. has no problem posting number 62 at all. I mean, I love Jared C., but he has 62 written all. He probably has a 62 tat now, like on his bicep,
like Joey
you know?
like Joey Thorne has the I don't know.
100%.
Yeah,
You either have 1689 if you're Thorny, you have 62 if you're
62.
Jared C. It's the money.
He bought a Jason Kelsey jersey and just like covered Kelsey's name on the back.
Ron doesn't know
Yeah, I
that.
kind of do, but go on.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You know what's funny about the second 50 on this list? Like the top 50 are like these are mega leaguers, so
Yeah, I'm
huge
struggling
numbers,
to even know who
etc.
these guys are.
Dude, the second 50, it's all washed up people from like the early 2000s.
Or there's some of those, so it's like this is like the dregs of their influence,
Yeah.
or they are all niche influencers. So very social justice, very like strong women's influencers, church leadership
true.
coaching stuff, but they're all super niche-y. Because like you get down to 99, Bob Smetana. I used to work with Bob at Lifeway. He's a religion journalist.
Okay.
So he is now the general or overseeing editor for the religion news service, I think, RNS. So it's a super influential thing in terms of good reporting on religious liberty, religious freedom, things going on in churches. But like he's not a name.
Pipe, give me
it's not in terms of
a good
like big
leadership
numbers.
guy from this list. I want to see a leadership guy.
Okay. Well, a guy who actually does it fairly well is Eric Geiger
Geiger, I
in
was
terms
gonna
of
say
like,
that, yeah.
so number 80.
I'm reading his book right now. It's really good on leadership, and I'm like the most anti-leadership book guy that ever lived.
Fascinating.
Which book? Designed to Lead?
Yeah. It's really good.
That's actually a pretty good
Yeah,
one.
it's good. And what about 93? Christian Platt? Is that like David Platt's like unpopular younger brother?
That's a good question. I've never heard of Christian Platt. Oh, Pyatt.
Oh,
They spelled
Pyatt.
his name wrong.
Dude,
then
he
you got
looks
the
angry.
controversial-
Look at him. Look at Christian Pyatt.
Yeah, it's
He's talking about doing love and living grace, but he looks super PO'd in that picture, man.
Dude, it looks like Platt on my list, man. Is it really with an I?
Let's see.
if you click on the actual thing, it takes you to at Christian Pyatt.
Oh.
P-I-A-T-T.
Well, that's confusing. Dude,
And
who
Boz
is-
Chavigian at the bottom, man.
The number of these guys who are in large Texas metro areas is like it's very disproportionate.
baby,
Matt
who's
Chandler
Boz?
has
There's
just
a huge-
stole. Matt Chandler stole all their Twitter followers.
Who's
That's
Boz
what's happening.
Tavij, man? Is he related
He's
to our boy?
Tullian's bro, man.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
They don't
But
look alike.
his big thing. So he's another niche guy where his thing is dealing with like sexual abuse in the church.
Okay.
So reporting, training churches on how to respond. So whether it's against kids or against adults, all of that. But that's like his whole sort of ministry, writing, everything is churches dealing with that stuff. So he's another one who's real kind of limited, niche-y focused, but does really good work in
Pipe,
that
these
area.
Twitter followers at the bottom are so minimal. I feel like I should have made this list.
I mean, by numbers, I would make this
That's what I'm
list,
saying.
but,
Boys,
Are
let's get down to brass tacks. What are we looking at
Yeah,
numbers
can
wise
we?
for the two of you? Piper, how many Twitter
Oh,
followers
man.
do you have?
I don't know. Let me check.
You have a lot,
20
Pipe.
something thousand.
Pipe, you're way up there.
Pipe, you got 20,000? That's impressive, baby.
That's it, super.
27,000.
Wow. Ronald, how many do you have?
Oh, dude, I literally have like 1,000. I mean, I have nothing.
Oh, baby, I'm so sorry.
Really low. I know.
That's
it's-
tough.
Yeah,
man.
I would.
the reality.
I would slot in just behind Eric Geiger by numbers.
That's
but,
not bad, Pipe.
Apparently not an influence.
Well,
Which he used to be my boss, so I have to. There's still like that instinctive. I have to give him the kind of the nod and the deference.
Guys, can we have a moment of silence for our lack of influence right now
yeah, it's tough, dude.
in the evangelical community?
Ronald, what about our influence in the Downton Abbey community, though? Do you feel like
Well,
maybe
I think that's about to get big.
We're
I think
trending
it's
in
about
that
to
area?
Explode. Yeah,
I've got-
Happy Abbey.
I've got
Happy
only-
Abbey's going to be big.
I've got one more comment. Our boy Tim Challies weighed in at 55. I think Challies is bummed about this. I think he looks at this list and he goes 55 and kind of sniffs and rolls his eyes. What do you guys think?
You know what he would be happy about is realizing that he's surrounded by Randy Alcorn and Tabidi Anyabwile, whose name they spelled wrong, which is
They just shortened it.
abysmal.
Yeah, they abbreviated it. Tibet.
Yeah, they
Perfect.
just dropped the E's.
Yeah.
But so because at least he's surrounded by people he would look at and go, I respect those men. But the fact that he's behind Sarah Bessie probably makes him like punch his Canadian wall and then apologize.
Challies has worked hard for more followers than that, man. Let's be honest.
Sarah Bessie is she's just very progressive, feminist, etc. That's kind of her jam.
Interesting.
So very antithetical to somebody like Tim Challies.
Wow. It takes all kinds, boys. Which is
that's
a throwaway cliche by me.
Takes all kinds to be an evangelical influencer.
That's true. That's true, Big R. That is so true.
Kinds.
Boys, speaking of influencers, I want to talk about Kanye West because this is our radio program, and we've talked about him seemingly without end for the last month or so. And the latest,
he is the gift that keeps on.
He's
giving.
The new Drisky for us. It's Kanye business at this point, but. The newest kind of nugget of news out of the Kanye West camp is that he put on one of these church services in Detroit, and the speaker was a graduate of John MacArthur's seminary and actually gave like a really kind of reformy sermon in that it was glum and talked about sin all the time. And as a result, reform guys were super stoked about it. So guys, talk me through this, man. What are the implications here? Are we kind of drawing a straight line between this guy's theology and Kanye's at this point?
Oh boy.
So it's funny. I saw some pieces of sort of analysis of this by coming from different sides. So yeah, generally speaking, the Reformed crowd is like, this is fantastic. The real gospel message being preached at Kanye's thing. Then, because again, Reformed people love to determine what is true, what is real, who's really a Christian,
yes,
etc.
It's our favorite thing.
But then the interesting side, and a side that I don't totally know how to accurately kind of process and think through, is people from the African American church side looking at it and going, why are all of his preachers white? What is it that's like he's in maybe historically black churches, but bringing in white preachers, and it's just sort of this. There's some friction there by some people. I don't know. Again, social media is an unreliable guide of what actually matters, as we well know. So it's hard to know what's a. I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell it from this podcast because it's everything we go on, but. Yeah, that's been an interesting thing too, just seeing sort of the pushback of like from another side going, why is this guy preaching at a Kanye event when there's a deep bench of black preachers and things like that, and then they started to get into the jokes of like how all of the people in his choir or chorus or whatever they call it look like they used to sing backup for Kirk Franklin, and which is, you have to kind of know the gospel world a little bit, but it was it got very funny very fast, and sort of basically dogging on him for his blending of completely out of place church realities.
Oh, we know the gospel world, Pipe, the gospel centered world.
Hey-o. Yeah, well, we learned it from the best because @JaredC has written 72 books about it. So.
Hey, now question. So if we're going real like hard into this whole being stoked because it was a Reformed church service, was it upwards of 2 hours? Like, did it feel unspeakably long to all the people in attendance? Because that's the marker of a true Reformed church service.
No, it was not, because the sermon was only 12 minutes.
Oh, get out of here with your 12 minutes.
It was more like white Reformed youth camp devotion.
Yeah, it was edited. It was Reformed light.
12 minutes is a joke to me, boys. I mean, 12 minutes is like that's
the pastoral prayer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's Dever's weekly prayer.
That's the offertory prayer at our church, in which the offering almost never gets mentioned. But
that's the greeting time.
But every high point of the Bible does. Yeah. No, I mean, 12 minutes.
Well, your church is different, Ron, because you guys actually seem to like talking to people, whereas most Reformed churches don't do greeting time because that's a waste of.
It implies social
actual
skills,
worship and prayer time. Yeah, and it requires connecting to humans.
Yeah, exactly. We have no use for that in Reformedom. Yeah. Well, this is fascinating, boys. This is one to keep an eye on, and Kanye once again has succeeded in doing what he is great at, which is getting people who wouldn't normally talk about him to talk about him ad nauseum, which is
all right. I have one follow-up question. We discussed this previously with him, and then it came up in a conversation with a couple of my coworkers, so I need to bring it back up. When is Kanye releasing the album that this is all promoting?
Yeah,
Man.
Jesus
Because
is
first
king.
the question was, is this all a promotion?
Yes.
And the answer is definitively
Yeah.
yes. Like we don't even if you don't know what it is, he's promoting himself or something. I mean, this is all a promotion. So, do we know yet what is being released when that this is promoted?
Yeah, the album's called Jesus is King, and it was supposed to drop about a week ago. He keeps delaying it, just kind of building more hype.
Interesting.
Yes. So this is going to be he's going to pull a Dr. Dre and talk about this album for the next 11 years.
It probably won't be that drastic,
never
but he's
drop
building
it.
a lot of hype.
Okay.
And so every time he does another Sunday service, and he gets so much press for every time he does one of these services, it's just building hype.
Pipe, I have a question for you, and it concerns
All right.
the third man in the booth, Ronald J. Martin. Do you think he planted that church in Ashland 7 years ago just as a kind of long game, slow burn kind of marketing build for the release of his new Advent devotional for kids? Do you think Substance is just an elaborate ruse intended to?
That's the funniest thing I have ever heard in my life.
Okay, well let's flush this out a little bit because my initial reaction is that's a terrible idea. But I thought about it and I thought, is it terrible or is it sort of like Crazy Like a Fox?
I think it's Crazy Like a Fox.
Everything Ron has ever done creatively is whatever Ron wants to do creatively. Like he's not marching to the beat of some corporate
Absolutely
drum.
not.
And so the mid-sized city church plant in Middle America might be right up his alley as a genius marketing.
Boys
Yeah.
have been discovered.
I mean, it's just against the grain enough, Piper, to be a little bit of marketing genius by our boy. All the Yoda tweets, which, by the way,
this plan 7, 8, maybe even 10 years ago as a scheme.
dude, there was a whiteboard somewhere in Ashland, Ohio, that had arrows pointing to Yoda tweets and like a new church and trips to Naples.
To be fair, he planted this thing so long ago, people were still using chalkboards. But
Absolutely.
he started this scheme.
I love it.
By the way, listeners, the book is the best gift ever given. It is a Advent devotional to be used with your kids. And I haven't had a chance to read it because Ronnie hasn't sent me one. But the artwork is money. So your illustrator was fantastic, Ron. I'm assuming the words are good too.
Nah,
but
the
I
words
haven't
don't matter.
read it
The
yet.
illustrations are all that matter. So, and they're the money.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Baby, how's your Yoda game been lately?
I'm feeling a little off. I've been going through some dark times in the life of Ronald J. Martin, and I feel like the game is a little off. It will reemerge at some point, but it's a little low. It's a little dark right now.
Dude,
It's
maybe
a little,
you need other people's Yoda influence right now. Are there
You know
Yoda?
what? I probably do.
Wait. Ronnie, you might feel a little off, but your off days are still better than some people's good days. Let's go back 22 hours. So yesterday at
this is great.
probably
This is so good.
mid-afternoon, Ronnie tweeted,
Okay.
"We ask God to remove the burden, and then he removes our resistance to the burden."
That is Yoda gold.
That is a fastball run. If that's your off day, I hope I can have your off days as I learn to Yoda tweet. That's just fantastic.
Well, boys, that's encouraging. I feel like maybe I can emerge from this now with that level of encouragement.
Piper, whose NBA game would you compare Ronald's Yoda game to?
Mike Conley.
Fascinating.
Dude, you didn't even hesitate on that.
Fascinating.
I don't even know who he is.
That's so perfect. That's actually perfect. He's this.
You have to understand. You have to understand, Ron. Coming from Ted and me, that's a great compliment.
Because we love Mike
That's
Conley.
not that's not disparaging. That is he is underrated.
Yep.
Has played in a small market for almost the entirety of his career on teams that are consistently good, but
not
again,
championship.
kind of get
level.
overlooked.
Yeah. Kind of get overlooked.
And he never puts himself at the front of the line in terms of like diva, I am better and more important than everybody else. Total team player, but like mistake-free basketball, makes everybody else better. Yeah. So yeah, you're the Mike Conley.
Dude, you just
of Yoda
described
tweeters.
like an actor that made one movie in the early '90s and like never came back after.
Steve
that.
Zahn. You're the Steve Zahn of Yoda tweeting.
No, that's not true. I just described the character actor who you love in every movie, but who's rarely the
And
lead.
then Ted just said Steve Zahn, so now I'm having really dark thoughts.
Well, Ted was going off of your description, but I think that's an unfair description of the quality that you bring to the table.
Wow, you're an encourager.
Dude, you know what somebody said to me? And this is full circle. So we're gonna gas up Dwell Bible here in a minute, and then we're gonna end the app. But somebody said to me that that you, Ronald J. Martin, bear a striking resemblance to Thomas Barrow from Downton Abbey.
Wow, so, that's a massive compliment.
Lest we get on that again. Yeah, no, I know. I wanted to build you back up because clearly...
that's a man that is way more handsome than me, but I'll take it.
He's a very handsome man, Thomas Barrow. Yeah, very handsome man. And a very handsome iPhone app, Piper, I've found, is the Dwell Bible app. Why don't you tell us about it?
So you know that Dwell is good when the Doctrine and Devotion podcast decides to ride our coattails and get on board with promoting them as well.
I'm offended by that, by the way.
Yeah,
thorny.
Me too.
Well, you know, we were first in the door. We were first, and we were best.
We're original. So thorny. Why don't you go get your own sponsors? You know.
Ooh.
Yeah, he can. You know, I'm sure Dwell appreciates their sponsorship, but you know, it's confirmation that we're onto something with this. When they're like, oh, guess what? This is good. When the cranky Reformed Baptist types are like, oh, maybe this is good.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good. So. Listeners, Dwell Bible app. It's a mobile audio Bible app. There's multiple readers, multiple reading plans or listening plans, some of which will take you through the Bible in a year, some of which you can just break it down into short sections so you can consistently be in the Word. They have musical options if you want to, if that helps you engage the text better, sort of create a little bit more of an ambiance or a worshipful experience. They have topical playlists. They have all sorts of stuff. I use this primarily for either reflection and memorization because I'm really bad at those, so listening to something 100 times helps it stick, or for getting ready to teach, just to have the text around me as I'm leading up to it, just to kind of be in it. One of the best things that they do is that they consistently update and add new features. They're taking listener feedback. They're upgrading all the time. So they just recently released offline listening. So that means you can actually download portions of Scripture and then listen if you're not connected to Wi-Fi or you don't want to use your data. So especially if you're in a rural area, like say Ronnie Martin, where the Wi-Fi in Ohio consistently sucks. He could download when he's on decent Wi-Fi, like say
in Naples, Florida.
In Naples, Florida, at a beautiful hotel, and then listen when he got home to Nowheresville, Ohio. So all of that is wrapped up into what Dwell is doing. So they're really trying to serve the people of rural Ohio. Ron, they're there for you. They have a particular and special offer for Happy Rant listeners. If you go to dwellapp.io/happyrant, dwellapp.io/happyrant, they are offering a 33% discount on their subscription. You do have to pay to use this. That helps them continue to grow their business, improve the app. But it comes out to about $20 a year with that discount. So I mean, it's really cheap. It's less than $2 a month. So that's the 33% discount. You can also pay for a lifetime subscription, so instead of paying annually, and it's about $100 for the lifetime. So that means you will get every upgrade feature henceforth forever for $100. Again, dwellapp.io/happyrant. Check that out. Dwell Bible app's pretty fantastic, and you will love it.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's safe to say, Pipe, we all in this program love the Dwell Bible app. And boys, I have loved doing radio with the two of you again. I feel like we needed this app. We needed a Get Healthy app. Piper, in the NFL parlance, this is kind of like playing the Dolphins. You know, we get to get off the schneid and get healthy and kind of remember who we were, remember how to perform well again.
I feel like we've rediscovered ourselves, found a rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, or in basketball terms, you know, it's like hitting a free throw. You see the ball go through the hoop, and you're like, okay, this is who I am. We've regained.
And stay tuned for Happy Abbey.
Get a Happy Abbey plug there too. It was a little too much sports content for Ronald. But boys, we have done what we always do on this program, in that we have wandered to and fro throughout these topics. And until next time.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.